Hello, everybody. So I hope you guys are doing great today. And I see that we are just now getting people that are joining on the membership on the YouTube and the website. And we're going to be doing, oh, you know what? We're having trouble streaming to the website. So we're just going to be on YouTube, I guess. Um, this will be only YouTube because we don't have a stream key for this one. So anyway, I'm gonna go over some things here for you guys that are new and learning about how the whole trust thing works. For those of you that are not new, then this okay. This will help you to get and learn some things, and it will teach you some of the um, hang on just a second. It's going to teach you some of the uh, ins and outs, kind of things not to do and the things you can do. So those things will affect how you make decisions. And I just want to be everybody to be informed. I want to make sure that everyone's got, an insight on, what exactly they're doing, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of things that are not clear that are happening right now that uh, people really don't know, um, well, what the truth is and what isn't. So, um, why and how we create a trust. So let me go through these slides here for you guys, and I just kind of made these slides so you guys could see these and have a little bit of information on this. So, oh, that did not turn out well, did it? There we go. Okay. So, five positives of a trust are, well, obviously asset protection. Um, your, your, the people in your family are considered property. They're considered, well, they're not considered property. They are, but they aren't. Okay. So, what happens is they are your private property and they become public assets by creating titles that go with them. So, this positive of a trust will allow you to create a asset protections by putting those titles and their legal titles that were created aside from, well, obviously from the existing physical thing that's around. And a trust protects your assets from, well, creditors and from being sued. So I forgot to tell you guys, and I normally do go through all of this, but I'm going to tell you again because I just want to be clear that this is not.
The following program contains mature content and is the truth. No part herein is intended to be legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. Audience discretion is advised.
Okay, so that being said, nothing's legal advice. This is just for entertaining you guys with, well, doesn't it kind of tickle you when the truth is told? Someone tells you the truth, like, oh, that feels good. Um, it's kind of the same thing as the lie when you leave the lawyer's office, except it's always the truth. See, they have a way of speaking to you. That's why they call them fork-tongued devils. And I have no disrespect or no bad feelings for anybody that that has a good heart and intent and makes a mistake. Those that know you are making a mistake, woe unto you lawyers, for you have hidden the knowledge, and continue to perpetuate negative experiences on other people because you have knowledge and they don't, then you're the bad guys. I say you're bad because, well, not to me, but I mean, things will come around for you. And I'm sorry to say that, but it just is the reality of things. Things must be equivalent, equal, and balanced. And that's why we have this beautiful thing called equity jurisprudence that I'm going to show you guys. So, tax benefits, of course, there's a difference between tax avoidance and a tax evasion. Okay. When you are evading taxes, okay, which tomorrow I'm going to do a more I'm gonna do a story on something that I haven't ever seen out there. So you guys look out. It's on. It's actually disappeared. So I'm not really worried about anybody taking the story because I can't even find it myself, and I had to find it through kind of back way means. But I found some information on it, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about it. And we're gonna do like hey, who done it? Where in the world is these people? Where are these people right now? Because I would like to know where billions of dollars went. It's missing, guys and gals. And it's funny because it's a 7-year anniversary of that right now. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But today we're going to talk about the benefits right now, the positives. So we have estate planning. It allows smoother transition of assets. So let me just tell you guys, every one of you guys are heirs if you know and learn who you are. It doesn't matter whether you get along with your family members or not. That's not relevant of where you come from. One bad seed can't ruin your whole entire existence. I promise you. You just need to learn how to work around that with ways that have never been taught to you. Because no one's ever taught you to be fair. No one's ever taught you to be like equitable. No one's ever taught you to be reasonable. And no one's ever taught you to, just indulge in and like tell it like it is and make these equitable records that are you can stand on. This is not for everybody because not everyone understands it or can get the old way of arguing out of their mind, because this is not arguing about anything. So moving on, privacy. So it allows privacy when you have wills. Wills are public and they announce what happened and who gets what and everything. Trusts are not public records unless you make them, and they keep your affairs private as far as what goes where and who the beneficiaries are. Sometimes you never know. Sometimes only the beneficiaries know. So that's an important aspect. And control, and you can specify exactly when your assets are distributed, like when you want them put somewhere. Now, there was an example someone else told me one time that was a couple of 2 or 3 generations had been skipped, and suddenly this 3rd generation comes along and he's a billionaire by when he turned 18. He's like, hey, this guy hated his family and didn't want anybody that was related to him or his kids to get any of this money. So he saved it for this other generation and it's yours. And he's like, oh, well, thanks. Don't we all need one of those? No, it wouldn't solve our problems. I promise. We would find other problems to deal with. So we still have the same problem whether we have money or not. It doesn't change anything. You just learn a different way to maintain your problems. So control, you specify exactly how and when assets are distributed. So you get to choose and call the shots specifically. You don't have to, like, there's no ends bar. We're not trying to like create anything that, is not legit. Okay. So you got 5 negatives. What are 5 negatives? Setting up and maintaining a trust can be costly in the beginning. The expenses that go into it are investments. Right now, you have some changes in the legal realm that need to be made that will put you towards your goal of setting up your trust in your estate. But those are the initial investments. And believe me, when I tell you they're super small for the big changes you're making. Give me just 2 seconds. I need to take one moment to grab a drink of my tea real quick. That was not hot toddy. That was, I'm just have a tea. It's a good tea though. It's like a minty tea. So anyways, the cost can be something that is, a little bit overwhelming to some in the very beginning. But you will see that those are things that they're all taxable items. And the thing is that taxes are just a number. They're an accounting number. They're not this thing to be scared of. They're not the boogeyman, because the same things you pay your bills with, taxes, are the same things that they charge you with, taxes. Okay. So don't be afraid of lose the paradigm that the word taxes is some sort of like, oh, it's the boogeyman. It's not. It's actually your friend when you learn exactly how to maneuver with accounting. It's just accounting, but you've never been taught this, because what they did is they slapped a duty on you of trustee, and they never told you how to be a trustee. And now you got people scrambling to go find trustees, and they don't even know what, like, it's almost like people looking for relationships. They're like, boy, I really want to be in a relationship, but I don't know what to ask for in a man or a woman. Like, yeah. And then you see them go and select relationships, and it's like, whoa, which is why never mind. I'm not saying anything more. Okay. So the complexity, trust can be complicated and to understand. They've made them complicated on purpose because they don't want people to understand the trust relationships. They don't want people to understand the real meaning behind that. They've actually changed everything around, folks. You would be so shocked and amazed when you move on with this journey. You're going to see that the stuff that they've even taught people, like how to deal with other people, is wrong. People are out there asking people, why do you charge for something? Well, because you wouldn't say, okay, yeah, I want to sell you a boat. Come pick up the boat and you can pay me after the summer's over. That's not how you would sell your boat. And because my thoughts maybe turn into a boat. So however you want to look at it, I'm just saying that, it doesn't matter what you want to call it. It's called valuable consideration. And there's a reason why it's called valuable consideration in equity, because you get two people together. One person may see like a lot of value, maybe this little book here, and I'm going to read this to you guys in just a little bit. It's from the, I don't know what year it is. It's old though. It's from the 1800s, I believe. It is a receipt book. It's called a receipt book. It's out of New York, but it's got a whole bunch of stuff. 1897. It's called the Ransoms Family Receipt Book from 1897. Free to everyone, every year. And it's out of D. Ransom, Son and Company, Buffalo, New York. But I'll read more about that in a little bit. So the part of the biggest significance in creating trust is learning how to operate it. You can't, people that are trying to attack things that are in courts or in these administrative tribunals are not, don't get it. They're not going to, you guys are going to be hitting and missing because it's a trust first, and they don't get that. They're trying to argue statutes, rules, and codes and say, this isn't right, this isn't right. When you start asserting certain things, I did another video on this before, but if you start the choice of one thing, just like when you guys go get married, right? When you pick one spouse, you just eliminated all the other 60 million or 60 billion or how many other people are out there, okay? You just eliminated all the other choices. One choice is the elimination of all others. And you guys are not seeing that when you're choosing these Roman methods that were developed, their origin and root is in Roman law, okay, Justinian law. Their origin, it goes back to the same thing that the same rules, and we're dealing with the same thing. But you guys, when you start saying anything that has a case that's tied to it, that has to do with anything after 1938, okay? 1938, Erie Railroad case. You can look that up, 1938. Anything that has to do with anything after 1938 is all their stuff. It doesn't, there's no statutes that, or there's no law that has anything that's equitable in that. Like, you're not going to find anything that is applicable to private people. It's always going to be presumed to be in the public charitable trust. Okay, so you guys are like we're missing the point a lot whenever we get to these situations where, like, we don't even know what is happening in these cases, and we're getting mowed over, and they get whatever judgment they want. Now these can be fixed, these judgments can be reversed, but it's all with discretion of people being able to do it properly. So the maintenance, there's going to be ongoing administration, and it's burdensome. It's going to be a pain in the butt until you learn some of these things. But it's just like riding a bike. You know what? You're going to have some stubbed toes and some skinned knees, but guess what? You're going to fall a couple times. You're probably going to eat it. I still have a scar on my chin where I ate it like that. And guess what? I'm still here. And I still have, like, well, I don't know. Maybe I have 3 chins. I don't know. But they're there, all of them. And they're having a party down there below where I speak. And I don't even know what they're doing because I don't check on them. But they're still happy, and you will be too. So moving on, we're going to move on to 5 solutions. 5 solutions? What are solutions for? Well, 5 solutions for these problems that we just created. First of all, you got to do research. Okay, you guys gotta do research. You got to go out and find the answers to this stuff. You got to find out where these answers are. You got to find out exactly, well, the citations for them, and that's part of what I teach you in the classes, because it's important that you know where all this stuff comes from. Otherwise, you're not going to know how to solve it. All right. So regular reviews. You have regular reviews that ensure that the trust remains effective, like what you're doing in the trust, it remains effective. Like, is it still up to date? Does it still comport with all of the changes that have happened? Even though you're running a private trust, you still have, it's within a statutory realm, and it's within your guidelines when it comes to certain decisions, but it's still got to go in the order of commerce according to the state rules. The state still did regulate the trust, and they allowed that creation to happen. And it's a state you have the trust in. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so clear instructions. They provide detailed guidance in the trust documents. When you have trustee selections, well, they're good. You have a good trustee, and you can rely on them because they're competent. And then you educate yourself. You got to inform beneficiaries about the trust purpose and its rules. And you guys got to know too, because you're a beneficiary. Okay. First of all, you need to learn what a beneficiary does. What in the heck is a beneficiary? Well, it's somebody that's supposed to be receiving something. Well, what should you be receiving that you haven't ever received before? Because that's where your focus should be on is those things that you haven't ever been receiving. That's what's called accountability. So you have to be accountable for those things, and you're able in trust to go ahead, and once you show accounting, it's like an off balance sheet. You show accounting and it goes back to 0 again. And it's like, imagine that as if you were taking out of pocket, showing receipts, and it was going back into your pocket again. Okay. So that's the 3-step kind of analogy that works on. Moving on, the 5 considerations. Define what you want to achieve with the trust, okay, and your goals. You got to just define what are you trying to do? What in the world are you trying to do? Because most of you guys are so overwhelmed with emotional stuff right now. Like, I totally respect it, and I love that you guys are like, you can't like go on without your family members. Okay. I love that. I mean, I love that you have that mentality. I don't like that you're having to go through that. So let's be clear. But what I'm saying is that, what are you trying to accomplish? And it's a lot easier to make plans to accomplish goals in a trust if you're not, okay, first of all, if you don't have the police knocking at your door, okay? It's a lot easier to write up a trust if the police are not, open up, we have a warrant, okay? If they're doing that, then it's too late to do a trust, okay, guys? Like, you got to learn before that. And don't call me and say, I need help now. Okay. That doesn't work either. You guys, that's the whole thing about creating this now so that you have the trust. Okay. The trust just exists. Like, no, I don't have to worry about that because I have trust. Well, why do you have trust? Because I created it. Why did you create it? Because I'm a creator. Well, what's the other guy do? He goes to a job. Okay, so that was my joke for the day, anyways. Let's see. We want to achieve what we want to. We want to define what we want to achieve. Then we research the types of trust, the specific types of trust and their uses. Okay. Then assets. We determine which assets to include in the trust. Okay, because you're not going to put a car in an irrevocable trust. Okay, maybe you will, but it would be like I don't know, like a 57 Chevy or a T-Bird or something like that, something old, a classic car, because it's something that you would want to leave in there forever and ever as long as everybody exists, right? Maybe. I don't know, maybe not. But just you research the revocable, irrevocable, the special trusts. Maybe you have a family member with special needs, some sort of special needs. Maybe you have, I don't know, maybe you have, there's all kinds of different trusts, guys. Gun trusts, there's pet trusts. Like if you pass and you want pet to be taken care of a certain way, there's ways that they can be taken care of. That's the whole point of having a trust. See, these things are not available when you have wills, and I mean, people just kind of do the best they can. Like, okay, your dog doesn't have a home. Well, let's see if we can find somebody. Okay, well, they won't take it. Okay, well, then it's going to go to the Humane Society or something sad. You know, that's just the reality of things. Like, people don't pay attention to the like second and third step. You're so focused right now on like now. If you guys would take the time to slow down to see what's already out there for you instead of chasing something that's just keeping you busy from what's already out there for you, then you would learn so much more, not only about yourself, but about what your creator gave you and endowed for you. It's all here for you once you learn. So beneficiaries, you got to just sort of decide who's going to benefit from the trust and under what conditions they're going to benefit from. Like, how are you going to proceed if you don't even know that? And then you got legal requirements of the state, obviously. You make sure compliance with all relevant laws and regulations. Even though it's in the state, it still has to comply with relevant regulations. You can't say, my trust allows me to go and kill people as long as it's done humanely. That's not an okay thing, because it goes against the principles of life, liberty, or property. Okay, it also cannot go against a statute that is like named against a statute. Like, I reserve the right to commit murder in the state of California. That's not okay. Like, you can't do that. That is like a double whammy, because it's against the state, and it's also like, well, it's also taking someone's life. So for that reason, you wouldn't want to do it either. Okay. So moving on to the next slide here. Living trust. Now, living trust is established during the grantor's lifetime and can be revocable or irrevocable, meaning he can take it back or make it so that he can't take it back. Okay. Irrevocable, the difference, why would somebody alive want to make something irrevocable? Because they don't want anybody else getting to it. The way that the states look at it is, in a living trust, if you have given it to a trust, then it's not yours either. But if it's revocable, it's yours and you haven't given it to a trust, so therefore it belongs to the state ultimately. Okay, that's the way they can penetrate those trusts. So irrevocable trusts can be penetrated only with like a lot. Okay, it takes a lot, but it also, you can change an irrevocable trust if the beneficiary is not turned 18. If the beneficiary turned 18, you need to get their permission, and that can make the changes, as well as having the other trustees in the trust agree. So a testamentary trust is created through a will, and it's effective after death. So a testamentary trust says, I bequeath to them and their heirs. That's a testamentary trust. You wrote it in the will. You testified that you wanted a trust to be created through that will and to be effective after you died. A charitable trust benefits a charity or the public, which is what we're all primarily stuck in. Okay, I say stuck in. Um, we're not stuck, guys. Okay, it's a choice, but we chose the wrong choice. We made the wrong choice, and it was intended to be used for really good things, but it's now become like a thing that a machine requires for oil. It's like oil. It's like this machine requires oil and it needs it to survive, and it's got the military behind it making the survival of the fittest. Like that's one of its mottos is to survive, and so no matter what, it just keeps consuming those that make themselves available. Now, here's the other catch to the charitable trust. Okay, now part of this you have to understand. Number 3 and number 5 in this are kind of in the same category. Okay, because you're in a charitable trust, but the charitable trust you're in is also a spendthrift trust. Okay, meaning that the spendthrift itself is being protected. You're being protected from the charitable trust that you handed over. It's kind of like walking up to, imagine walking up to a valet and saying, "Here's my keys," and you give him your car keys, and now it's not your car anymore. Well, it is, right? But let's say you got in an argument and he has the car and you have your wallet. You're not going to be able to prove it's your car, are you? Right? So when we create a charitable trust, or when we are opting into a charitable trust, it's like taking the car and handing it to someone else so that then they could say, you don't have control over it and it's not yours for whatever reasons, because it's in a different status or status. Okay. That's why these things are not, they're in order for a reason. Okay. So a charitable trust, now you guys can create them too. It's good to create them and control them. It's not good to be in one and being controlled by one. Okay. Difference. Special needs trust gives like disabled people. So a kid that has a disability, okay, you guys take the collaterals that are theirs and you put those into trust and you give the intent and the purpose, and then you can go get a trustee for that special needs trust. That's what you should be doing. These people, and I've showed it before, I might even have another excerpt on it again, where you guys have seen situations in like guardian ward where the state, someone will go to the state and try to say, hey, my little boy, he's getting older now, and I was told to create a trust for him, and well, the state goes and says, oh, well, you're not fit, and takes him away and puts him in like a home and transfers him all over, and just nightmares begin, because people don't do that. They go and ask for help, and well, this is like, it's like going to the bank and saying, hey, I figured out how to cash in your deposit slips with another bank. Can you guys tell me exactly how you do it? They're not going to tell you. In fact, they're going to be like, give me that back. It's not, there's no benefit for anyone in that sort of realm. Okay. So, and then spendthrift trusts are trusts like the Social Security is a spendthrift. So you've been locked out of your own account on account of whatever. Okay. So we got 5 rankings. The living trust is versatile and widely used. Testamentary trusts are wills with trusts in them. They're essential for posthumous or death asset management. So after your life, asset management. So charitable trusts are great for philanthropic goals. Ask Bill Gates, right? He's the biggest philanthropic guy that there is. He wants to help everybody by eliminating the population. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what he wants to do. I've just seen that all over the place, and I wonder how did he, like, he did a TED article, I believe, and I was really interested in some of the things that were said, but It was literally about reducing numbers account numbers of account holders so that they could. Okay, so let's just say this in. I'm going to say this in real words. Okay, let me just go. I'm going to go right here really quick. All right, so we're going to say this. If you reduce the account holders with whom you're holding their accounts, and there's nobody that is listed as receiving everything after that, then you're the new account holder. You guys get it? Okay. So let's say it one more time. I'm going to say this one more time. If I expire today, and if I were to expire with other account holders, and there was nobody listed as superseding that in a beneficiary position, then it would default into a charity, a public charity, because there's nobody left. You guys get that? That's why people are very willing to create where there's a way, where there's a, okay, let's just do this here. I can do this. Here, where there's a way. Okay. So you guys just remember, where there's a way. All right. And we'll just keep it like that. We can do that all day long. The testamentary trust, essential again for that. Charitable trust is good for Bill Gates purposes. Special needs is good for vulnerable beneficiaries, people who can't handle all their stuff. Spendthrift trusts are crucial for safeguarding assets from creditors, and that's what they've done. They just protect it. They say it's from creditors, but it's actually you from yourself. Have you ever tried calling Social Security and asking them to, oh, you know what? I didn't change this back. I'm sorry, guys. You ever called Social Security and asked them to give you an extension? Like, you know what? This month is not enough. This beneficiary is going to need some more on that. What they do is they go back in it and they're like, nope, he needs protection. So they offer you the benefit again. They're like, nope, we gave you the benefit this time. Instead of giving you the money, we gave you the benefit because we think the benefit is better for you, because we're your daddy, because you gave us your rights away. That's all it is, folks. We can go back and get them. It's just education. You got to learn. Okay, so 5 reasons why asset protection shields assets from potential creditors. Privacy, it keeps your financial matters out of the public eye. Control, it dictates how and when assets are distributed. Tax efficiency, it can reduce, okay? There's a difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion, okay? Tax avoidance is 100% encouraged by the IRS because you can avoid this and avoid that. But if you start evading them, there is deception involved in that, and there is a penalty for being a trustee who is deceptive. If you are a wise trustee, you will do avoidance. If you are not wise, you will create evasion, and that's not a good thing. So beneficiary support provides for beneficiaries in a structured manner, okay? That's the next one here. So 5 reasons why not. Cost, high initial and ongoing expenses. So we discussed that, right? The high cost. We discussed that. Complexity, significant legal and financial knowledge. Irrevocability, some trusts cannot be changed once they're set up. I think I have more. Administration and ongoing management can be demanding, so people are going to get frustrated because of that. And it takes a lot of initial effort. It requires effort to establish it properly, to learn what requires, what goes where, and why. Okay? 5 positive predictions that we have. Increased adoption. More people will use trust for estate planning. So more people will adopt this, okay, if you learn what I just talked about. New types of trust will emerge to meet evolving needs. What you guys have right now, maybe you have some sort of other kind of trust. I don't know what you have as assets, but you know, you can create anything and put anything into a special trust. Maybe you have like some kind of special charitable thing you got going on, and that special trust fits to somebody. Remember, I told you guys about dropping a baby off without instructions. Maybe you have a trust for that. I don't know. Just kidding. But maybe you do. Tax reforms, favorable laws for trusts could be enacted. So other things could spawn, like you could create other things by what you do, your changes you make. Integrating technology, you can use other things that will simplify managing trusts. Just remember, have backups of everything and have papers of everything. And then trust, as time goes by, trusts are going to be more, they have been historically, more common internationally. 5 positives are higher asset protection. So trusts shield more assets from litigation, so you don't get involved in. If somebody goes and searches a piece of property and finds out it's the only thing and it's in a private trust that is outside the jurisdiction of where they're at, then there's no hope. You're not touching that. I don't care what happened; it's just not going to happen unless there has to be something major, like a fatality or something like that. That's the only time that the courts are ever going to let something like that happen, as far as any research that I've done. So, like, these things are bulletproof, and they are intended to do things. So when you have like you have one car that's in one trust, and you have, or maybe 2 cars that's in 2 trusts, no one's gonna sue an entire estate for 2 cars that are in it. You get it? So, but when you put a whole entire, like, someone's life into that estate, now you got, maybe $1 billion or, $200 million or something like that. That's a lot different than, when you have that sitting in an account. It's a lot easier to go after that than anything else. So beneficiary security, more secure financial futures for beneficiaries. And then when people start getting into creating their own trusts, they can then give the intent of the money that they're using that for. That's the problem, is we're giving, like, they're coming after, municipalities are coming after private people to get them to sign off on accounting that they created, because we don't know how to agree with it. So we ended up arguing with it, and then we hire somebody else to professionally argue for us, and we never win, because it's always the same thing. It's always intended to create accounting. All right, that's the whole purpose and intent of that. So regulatory scrutiny, increased government oversight and regulation are negative predictions of that. So when you start putting more assets into trust, the government wants to get involved. Hey, why are you doing that? We're putting more restrictions on that. We don't want that to be so easy to do that. So cost increases, rising costs for establishing and maintaining trusts. Legal complications, it gets more complex, legal challenges and disputes. Economic downturns, so when assets on trusts, you have economic downturns that potentially impact the assets and trust itself. Tax law changes, adverse changes in tax laws affecting trust. See, what people don't understand is that there is no money. I say that, like, you can go and find $1 or $2 or whatever, like, that is the exchange. But when it comes to as far as exchanging things, exchanging money, the offset, when you have a loss, see, this is why the people who are financially well off don't worry about certain things. When you see a disaster happen, you say, oh, look, there's a 9 and 4 zeros. To them, it's a 9 and 4 zeros. To you, it's $90,000, right? Like, oh my God, how am I ever going to recover from this? Or I'm suing the insurance company. More controversy. You guys get it? It's like chaos. It's just chaos. It's straight up chaos. That's where they want you to go. When you're in trust, it's like accounting. Oh, it's a number. Oh, 9 and 4 zeros. Okay, so yeah, now I need to go send that off because I need to go receive that back. It's accounting. Accountable, okay? That's all you're doing. You're being accountable. So negative estimates, you have decreased affordability. So higher costs may limit accessibility for some people in trusts. More frequent disputes over trust terms will cause legal battles, administrative burdens, growing complexity in trust administration. I mean, it's just like this is just the opposite side of a polarity. So I'm not going to go through every single one. I'm going to try to get through these slides before we're done here today. So 5 benefits is financial security, secure financial future for beneficiaries, tax savings, reduce estate and income tax liabilities. You guys just get rid of it, reduce it, and get like to zero or next to zero. Asset protection. It shields assets from creditors and lawsuits. And control over assets. It ensures assets are used according to what you want. And then you have philanthropic opportunities, enables charity and growing to legacy building. So you guys can create, like you've seen where this is dedicated in memory of, that's what that is about. It's creating something that is in a legacy of you. Moving on, estate liquidity. Provides liquidity to cover estate expenses. Avoid probate. Keeps assets out of the lengthy probate process. Generational wealth. You pass it on to generations. Special needs care for disabled beneficiaries. Business continuity. Supports smooth transitions of business ownership. Square business of business ownership. In other words, from one business owner to another, it's really easy in trust. The other way, that commercial way, is not simple at all. It's really complicated on purpose because they want attorneys to be involved. So 5 underrated benefits are creditor protection. So that is really huge. When you have, like, there's a lot of things that I teach people in responses to when they are threatened with things from creditors who are claiming they owe something. Family disputes and inheritance, man, I'm telling you, these are always a problem. If people don't know about stuff, it makes it so much easier. So it's so much easier to do this in trust instead of having people fight over something that doesn't exist. People really believe that money exists, and if they think that somebody else got more than they got, when they have whatever they want, if they just learn who they are, you just got to learn who you are. So it adapts to changing circumstances and needs. Professional management allows professional handling of trust assets, and income management provides structured income distribution to beneficiaries. Unconventional benefits, things you don't think about. Pet care ensures long-term pet care for pets. So you care about and love your pet, this is a good thing. Educational support. You want to send your kids to an education, not an indoctrination, but an education. Travel trusts. Set aside funds specifically for travel. Have you ever thought about that? Like, where am I going to travel? Most people don't get beyond maintaining their household because they can't imagine themselves having an opportunity to do anything but work their rear end off. And that's the whole game, guys and gals. If you can take the time to figure out how to get out, you can stay out. Digital asset management protects digital assets and intellectual property. Lifestyle trusts support specific lifestyles and hobbies. So lifestyles are like, do you smoke peyote on top of like a cactus every morning and while you meditate on like your big toe? Okay, that's a lifestyle. If you don't do that, then don't worry about it. But if you want to do something like that, then you need to have a lifestyle trust because that is the only thing that's going to preserve it. If somebody sees you out on a cactus on your big toe smoking peyote, they're going to call the cops on you, and then you're going to have nothing to stand on. If you have a trust, then you're going to not have a problem, okay, if you know how to use that trust. Okay, so 5 hidden benefits, okay? I'm going to blast through these because we got, not that many, but we got some things to go through. So you have emergency funds. It provides a safety net for unexpected expenses. Healthcare funding covers healthcare costs for beneficiaries. Marriage protection shields assets from marital disputes. Environmental trusts support environmental conservation efforts. Cultural preservation funds cultural or heritage preservation initiatives. You guys can name anything for any reason. It doesn't matter. That's your choice. 5 less challenging tips are: start simple, start small, begin with a simple trust structure, and expand as you need. Just start really small. Like, I am the grantor. Who is the trustee and who is the beneficiary? Start there. Use templates. Utilize trust templates to simplify the process. We give you guys stuff like that. Consult with experts. You can find other people who know other stuff about this. And I encourage you to research around, but remember that what I teach is different. It's unique. Okay? There's people out there that are teaching things in equity, but they're not teaching equity. They're teaching you how to get out of problems using this method. But this is a way of living, and it is a much more effective way of living that really is more beneficial to you. And you can learn so many other ways that you control instead of paying someone else to like do something for you. That's not the way you're going to be successful in this. You got to learn this yourself, and then you take initiative and control of all the things that exist in here. So we have educational resources, leverage online courses, and books on trust. So I give you guys a lot of that stuff. And then trust management software for easier administration, whatever you can use, like whether it's Notes or Evernote or whatever like you use for documentation, Word, all those. So 5 challenging tips. Custom trusts. Tailor the trust to your specific needs and goals. That's a challenge for you guys. Customize a trust. Regular updates. Continuously update the trust and reflect the changes in law and circumstances. Stay on that. If you do that like quarterly, research the laws, that the changes in laws and the trusts and estates, you can have a very good grasp on what's going on and what's been changed in the tax process. Tax planning. Integrate comprehensive tax planning into the trust structure. Multi-jurisdictional issues. Address legal complexities in different jurisdictions. When you get pulled over in a different state, how are you going to handle that? How is the trust handle that? So make sure that's clear. Complex beneficiary structures. Manage trust with multiple and diverse beneficiaries. Okay. So incentive. These are clever tips. Okay. Incentive trusts. Encourage specific behaviors for achievements in beneficiaries. Now, this is a fine line, and I tell you guys this because coming from a person who felt very, very controlled and manipulated, whether that really did exist or that was just my perception is it's up to debate, but I tell you that I felt like I was very controlled, and I'm going to tell you that it's not anyone's job to control someone's behavior or to make them successful. And many people are trying to live out their own successes or failures through their children, and that's wrong. You should never put the responsibility or burden of a child's success that you didn't have on your child, and you should never put that burden for them to have to go and do stuff that you feel that they should do. This is their journey to discover. It's your journey to make sure that they stay safe. You are a guardian. That's it. You are a guardian. You are there to make sure they're safe. You are not their savior. You are not anything like that. You brought them here and they have a job to do. They're on a mission just like you were on a mission. Whatever you did with that mission is like you may have ruined it and chomped on it and chewed it up and spit it out, but it is what it is. And, you can't, you don't get another try, but you can continue to help them and guide them in what you've learned along the way, not telling anyone what to do, but just to give them your experiences and share. So don't go and create incentives and say, well, you got to do this or this, because that's controlling people. Discretionary trusts give trustees the power to decide on distribution. So certain things will be discretionary to trustees and certain things are delegated as discretionary. Trust protectors appoint a trust protector to oversee the trustee. So if you have a situation where a trust protector or you have another trustee, or maybe you're incapacitated, it will oversee that the trustee is doing the right job, okay, and following the rules and taking care of what they should be. Layered trusts use multiple trusts for different purposes and beneficiaries. Silent trusts keep the existence of the trust secret from beneficiaries until a certain age or event, okay? Almost done here. We have a couple more. Legal compliance ensures that the trust complies with all applicable laws and regulations. Okay. The trustee training provide through training for trustees on their duties and responsibilities. So they need a thorough training. You guys, that's part of what you're going to learn in this part of this journey. In fact, this year, I'm going to have more trustee training after we finish with this round here. Asset diversification, diversify trust assets to minimize your risk. And then we have detailed provisions. They include specific provisions for various scenarios. So it's just creating flexibility within a trust. Okay. Beneficiary communication, they maintain clear and open communication with beneficiaries. That is for trustees to do. They should be communicating with trustees. 5 non-legal tips to add to every other tip that's not legal. Complex tax strategies. Employ advanced tax strategies to optimize trust benefits. You guys will learn. You're going to learn here very, very soon. It's not going to be, it'll be in this year, but you're going to learn on the creating the intent. You guys are not going to do this, but I'm going to show you the back door on how to give the instructions on what should happen so you can tell them what you're entitled to so you can go get what is yours and enforce it in equity. That's the goal. Okay. Asset protection mechanisms. Implement robust asset protection measures. Intergenerational wealth planning. Design trust to transfer wealth across several generations. Advanced estate planning. You integrate trust into comprehensive estate plan. And philanthropic planning. Use trust for structured and impactful charitable giving. See, these guys have gotten ahead of people where they're using philanthropic means. They're creating trust to benefit what they call charitable purposes, and then now they're delegating what the charities are. And then what they've done is they've jumped on the other side of the charity and they're like, wait, we need money to go from this public charitable trust over to this organization. And they're sitting on the other side of the organization going, oh, well, that's so nice of you to donate those funds to our organization. We want to do really good things for the well-being of mankind. But it's the same people. On one side, they're creating the need for this problem, and on the other side, they're creating the solution, and then they accept the funds from the trust, from the public charitable trust, into their structured trust for your benefit, allegedly, because the same thing could have happened. The different structure to that would have been you creating a trust, you giving specific directions, and you delegating exactly how that was to be run, instead of them having to feel compelled to take from a public charitable trust where no one is controlling anything, okay, and no one gives any instructions or directions. That's why they had to create them. I'm telling you guys, this is under military jurisdiction. It's not bad for some people, I think. Some people are cogent and like calm and want to be taken care of. And some people don't want to be taken care of. And to what extent you want that to be an existence is where you have to decide that you want to pick up and either learn more, or you want to leave it the way it is. Okay. The more time that goes by, the less choices we're going to have. And that's just historically. There was tons of choices a long time ago. There was lots of choices. You could pretty much do everything. I will tell you this. Like, I remember, and this is a true story. I remember riding in the back of, my dad had a 1966 Corvette convertible. It was baby blue. It was a 2-door, and it had a black interior. And this thing had a 27 in it, Chevy 327. And it was automatic. It had a hard top on it with a soft top. And I just remember as a kid, my dad used to take me places. He took me to places in Florida where we lived. And I remember him taking me to a 7-Eleven and leaving me in the car one time. And he surprised me with Pop Rocks. He came out with Pop Rocks. So that was the first thing, and these things started popping in my mouth. So then later on, my parents took me into a place in a town called Pearl, Mississippi. We lived in a place called Brandon, Mississippi. And my dad would drive my mom and him, and I was just baggage, I think. They couldn't leave me at home. I was too little. So they threw me underneath the back of the car, which is like, there's not enough room to barely lay, but it's cool with hanging back there. And it was like right on top of the gas tank. So if anybody would ever rear-ended us, it would have been the end of me. I would have been like a burnt marshmallow on a campfire. But I remember my parents going through this one event, and I say one because it was one of many, where they went through a place in Pearl called the Barn, and it was this place up this. It had this big driveway. It looked like a driveway to someone's house. At the top of it was a big old red barn, and the drive went through it. Except the drive went around the side and then out. So you would go up the outside, go in the back of the barn, and then drive down out of the barn. When you pull into the barn, there's people that ask you what you want, and they're selling gallon jugs of draft beer. And my mom's favorite was Michelob Dark. She would go have Michelob Dark, and she would have Mick Dark, and that's what they would drink all the time. So they would order 2 gallons of Michelob Dark. 2 gallons is a lot of beer, folks. But that's what my mom and dad would do, and I remember them like literally driving back. And kudos to you, Jackson, Mississippi police, for pulling them over, because you never caught them at all. They were really good drunk drivers, and they were experts. Like, I don't mean to say that. No, I don't mean to say that. But laws were much different back then. Okay. So that was something that was just acceptable. It was like, okay, we're going to go get a beer and then we're going to go home. Like, oh, yeah. Well, let's not wait till we get home. Let's have the beer right now. And then people became more conscious of, wait a second, if you have that, it could do things, bad things. And then, of course, fear takes over everything. And so does television. So we end up in a situation where people are freaking out because, you know, well, and I'm not, listen, I'm not arguing that. It should never be done. You shouldn't be getting intoxicated and then operating things around people that could be injurious to them, okay? But you also just be responsible. As long as you're responsible with what you do and you don't harm anybody, then you don't break rules. And that's really what this whole creation of this is about, is you have a set of rules that have been delegated to you only because it was the only set of rules that you knew about. And when you have the knowledge to know that you come from a place that allows you to create a set of ideologies, in other words, a belief system of your own that no one can ever interrupt. And no one wants you to know this, because if you have your own set of beliefs, then you don't rely on someone else for their beliefs. And so no one, and I say no one because anyone that is smart in the business world would tell you that someone who is easily controlled and manipulated is the kind of person you want to have around you, because then you can make them do whatever and you can scare them into anything. Oh my gosh, you better do this or else. And that's not what we were ever intended to be here for. You guys just get educated. Anything that makes you fearful, education will cure. And it's not indoctrination, you notice I said. It's becoming more informed on a subject, and that releases all of the anxiety that exists with that. What's on the other side of the curtain is what everybody scares you with. And as long as you guys are constantly searching out on the internet to try to find things that are out there, whether, you feel like, it's good, it's real or not, you have a subconscious that you don't really have much control over, because it's being manipulated all the time by things that you don't even notice. So I tell you right now, like, don't get wrapped up in the things that have traditionally been imposed and coerced on you. Ask questions about everything you do. It's okay. Even the Inquirer said, inquiring minds want to know. So you guys be an inquiring mind, and we're going to say that the Inquirer told us to do it. So there you go. It's not even my advice. It's the Inquirer. And I know you guys have the utmost respect for that, because you go through the checkout line every single day that you go and get groceries. And, well, you want to know, right? So here's the dirt. This is the news. It's already given to you. I don't have anything new. So anyways, you guys, I wanted you to get through this slide. I wanted you to see this. We're going to do I'm going to do more stuff. Like I'm just kind of experimenting with some of these presentations, some of these things that I'm showing you guys initially. I'm doing that because I want you to see that, you know, I want to hear your input too. I want to hear like your feedback on what's helping you, what isn't, what more things. We're going to get more people that are going to view eventually. I anticipate that it will be significantly more, but that will be with time. And we haven't really had like I just narrowed these videos down and added a cover to them. So I'll have a new summary for this one. By the way, you guys go check out the other videos too. When you go check them out, please give a like on the video. I know that sounds redundant like every other video deal, whatever. But give a like and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And that will help like our numbers, our algorithm and all that good stuff so more people can see the video. And then if you guys have comments or whatever, that's okay too. I don't even know how some of this stuff works. So like this is all, a lot of it's brand new to me. But we'll be doing other things. I'll be able to do other things with this and I can create stuff at any time. Like we can do a whole bunch of stuff. But I made two of the videos. I reduced it down from the 4 or 5 that were there, like partial pieces, and I moved those into like 2 videos, and then today will be the 3rd video. So it'll be the 3rd official video, and then I'll add a cover to that. So all the covers, you guys can look up the videos that I have out or that I put out, and you'll be able to see like the covers of those videos. I'm going to go over some of the stuff that I have, like for example the receipt book. This is one of them. So this receipt book is, oh, there it is. Here. Receipt book. So this is kind of cool. It's from 1887, right? So I'll read this to you guys one of these days. And then I've got some other things here. I'll show you these. These are, let's see, what did I do with it? Well, maybe I didn't. It was here. It is. They're there. So I have and we'll talk about these too. So there's 2. These are IRS revenue stamps. You guys, these haven't. They're not something that is like out there everywhere for people to see. You guys can, if you research them, you can find them. But this is one. So I don't know. That's not a very good. Let me see if I can put it another way and show it to you guys, because it's really hard to see. I'll try this way, and then let me put some light on it. That's not good at all either. That's not good. I'll have to get you guys pictures of it. I'll get you pictures. But that's one of the revenue stamps, the IRS revenue stamps. And I'll have to get some really close-up pictures. I've got 2 of them. There's another one on here too. But this one is, they're just different. Okay, so they're 2 totally different ones. I got them so I could show you guys. And then I've got some deeds that I'm going to be showing you guys as well. I'm going to be putting that on video so you guys can see actual deeds that have been historically used or were legitimate deeds that were accepted or whatever they had done to them. So you guys, I do want to hear your story ideas. If you have ideas, please do post those ideas. Please do let us know. If you have anything else you want to add, comments, suggestions, I'm always open to it. So I appreciate all of the positive feedback and everybody coming to hear what we have to say today. And we will see you again tomorrow. So you guys have an amazing day. I appreciate you very much. And with that.